Welcome, everybody, to Fade to Obsidian, your Red Rising podcast of spaceships and relationships. I am Skipper, joined as always by Crescent. And this week we are joined by Meringue and Fox. Welcome, Meringue and Fox.
Come on.
Thank you. An honor.
Fox, this is your first time, right?
Yeah.
It's my first time on a podcast ever, so thank you for inviting me. Yeah,
We're so excited.
You're so special.
Yeah. We're honored. Well, let's just kick right off. Why are you Fox? Who are you? Why did you get the name Fox?
When I joined the den, I actually had another name that I wanted to keep at the time. But everyone was filling out the form, and it seemed really fun, and I didn't fill it out at the beginning. And then I caved and I did. And I said that I loved foxes. And I also included a picture of Phoebe Doodles that she drew of a fox that she named after me. So I think that was why you called me Fox. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That sounds right.
Yep.
It's not because I'm sly or clever or something. Because
we'll give it to you, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You can say you are, and nobody will question it.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Just assign it to yourself.
I'm really sly and clever. That's why.
Yeah, definitely. Love it.
Can it now.
We think you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very clever. How many languages do you speak? Like, you are extremely clever, I would say.
I speak 3 languages fluently, and I can understand about another 4, maybe.
Unreal. Yeah, no kidding.
I barely understand one.
English is...
that's understanding people.
Yeah.
Language is something else.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I love it.
I just love languages.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, we'll get into, because that's very similar to the Count of Monte Cristo, who manages to speak every language. And that's why we are here today, is to do a deep dive into Count of Monte Cristo. So if you are listening or watching, make sure that you are... Spoilers are ahead for Count of Monte Cristo and all of the Red Rising series. I don't know if we'll get all the way into Lightbringer, but we might, so be warned. But before we do that, what are we drinking? Meringue, what do you have? What are you drinking?
Who's starting? Okay. I have this lovely French gin that is delightful, and I used that for a French 75, which you can't really tell, but there's like edible gold glitter in there. And then I am not a bartender, so I have no idea how to do this, but and there's probably a different name for it, but I tried putting grenadine at the bottom to make it like bloody.
Oh yeah.
The body count in this. And then like top didn't matter, it just all swirled together. So I have a grenadine infused French 75, which probably again has a different name, but I don't know.
No matter how hard I try, I can never get drinks to float. I once tried for an episode, and then it was supposed to be like a rainbow, and I was like, this has shown up like mud. Like, my drink is now just mud.
Yeah, I will stick to baked goods, and I will let Twist tell me how to make that work for me another time to do like the stacking on it. But
yeah, love it.
It's me. French 75s for the Frenchmen, and more like French blue. I thought was the right.
Look at you go. Yeah,
the right choice. I don't think so.
For sure. All right, Fox, what are you drinking in the time zone that actually can be drinking?
We're all adopting yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. I was going to drink red wine, but I was running around the park with my nephews all day. And it was very hot, so I wanted beer. And I just got a generic beer and mixed it with orange juice bought from the store.
Yeah.
So what is it? A pure mocha? Yeah.
Love it.
It's just a local beer. It's nothing special.
Nice. I love it. Crescent, what do you got? This bright, it is earliest for Crescent. It is 10 a.m. his time.
So I'm pulling the Eras treatment on this one. So
love it.
For the beginning of Dante's life, he is poor boy. So we're drinking Coors Light beer.
Checks out.
God.
Love it.
And then I feel like Danglars would actually be a basic and would drink White Claw.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go to prison, and I've got a little bit of Hot 100 for the Abbe Farias
Ooh.
I
concoction.
love this.
Ooh, nice.
And then we get rich as fuck. So I have my most expensive scotch.
Oh yeah.
Wow, you really are. Okay.
Oh
I
my
went
God.
Wow.
This is my favorite
5
lineup.
minutes before recording. I was like, what should I do?
Wow.
That
And
was a good idea.
you showed up with the best. You pulled out all the stops. I
Yeah.
live in awe.
I just
Mhm.
went the basic red wine because France
Oh, yeah.
and red wine. It's a California wine. I didn't even find a French wine, but
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go.
I-
But it is called bread and
I also have
butter,
Tim
so
Hortons
let's
coffee.
I don't know. Oh, not sponsored.
Got the Hydro Flask on standby.
We could be sponsored. I would love that.
Ooh, now
Oh,
we're
there you
talking.
go. I feel
I
like
don't
Tim
have-
Hortons, we are not in their budget. Or the opposite, of we are far below there.
Yep.
I don't know that I've ever had it. I'm pretty sure there are Tim Hortons around here, but
Yeah, because you're in
I don't know
northern
that I've
United
ever-
States. They're slowly invading. Slowly
Yeah.
invading. Fox,
It's
do
our
you know what
invasion
Tim
Yeah.
Hortons
strategy.
is? Do you know?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
What?
I know they have.
Oh.
You asked me or not?
Yeah, Fox. Fox,
Mhm.
do you know
Yeah,
what?
I've heard of that, and I've seen they have nice donuts and stuff as well. Where's your donut, Preston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ate it.
What's that
You
about?
ate it.
Okay.
Okay.
All
That I
right.
respect.
Yeah.
It's good to
Yeah.
It
have a
was an
base
apple fritter.
before you start.
Yeah. It's
Ooh,
probably.
okay. Is that
the-
your favorite donut, would you say?
Yes.
Ooh.
First choice. Okay.
I'm going honey
I
cruller.
feel like there's a debate there whether
Honey Cruller is my
apple
second
fritters are
choice.
technically
Honey crullers.
donut. Ooh,
Yeah.
those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah, it's our
Oh.
stereotypical Canadian coffee
Yeah,
brand.
it's Canadian Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Dunkin' Donuts, basically. Oh.
Yeah. Great.
I don't know that I've
Um,
ever actively sought out Dunkin' though either. I don't know.
No.
Anyways, sorry.
No, it's fine. We'll just get the coffee mix in on with all of this.
Yeah, how's that pairing with your Coors Light?
Haven't drank the Coors Light yet. Let's see.
Okay, great.
Wait for Danglars.
What a lovely
Oh, no,
pairing.
not Danglars.
You know what? It kind of tastes like cider.
What?
Interesting.
Okay.
Not like good cider, but
Not having
right.
a great time doing it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting.
What
Okay.
a fun pairing.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Everyone try it. Report back.
Yeah, let us know.
Beer.
Your taste buds might just be wonky.
Yeah.
probably true.
Nice.
They're
All
gonna
right,
get
well-
whiplash today.
Perhaps.
Let's jump in.
I know mine are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you guys have all the things. I didn't even bring water. I
Mhm.
only am wine at the
Oh
moment.
no.
We'll see how
We'll
that
take
works
a-
out. Yeah. It'll be
We'll take an
fine.
intermission. Get you set up.
But yeah, let's jump in. So, how, right off the bat, Meringue, you set this up as a den read along. What was your inspiration? How did that all come about?
It actually came about because when we did Secret Severo back in December, like Secret Santa type, my gift, and I actually should have grabbed it, but it's on my bookshelf over there. It ended up being Analog sent me a copy of the Count of Monte Cristo. And she's actually in France. So it's straight out of the Shakespeare and Company, and it's got like the
Oh,
little
yeah.
stamp on it, and it's beautiful.
Ooh.
It's so cute. So I did like an unboxing moment that I was like so excited about my Secret Severo. And I posted the video and I was like, this is my favorite book. I need everyone to read it. It's so good. And several people reached out and said, I went and bought it based on your reaction, and you just had such a high recommendation for it that they went and bought it and they wanted to read it. And I said, what if we just like read it all together, because it's so huge. It's like it's easy to lose the motivation on your own, I will
Yeah.
say. So yeah, that happened. And then we just kind of narrowed down a timeline because I think a lot of people wanted to read it, but it's such an undertaking. There's like all these other books that they have lined up. So I was like, okay, we'll pick a day, a couple weeks out. So we did like Monte Cristo Madness and in March, and that obviously took us all the way to May because it
It's a
was like a
beast.
debate of like, how do you balance how long this is or like how big it is versus how many weeks you want to spend reading it? Like, what's a reasonable amount of pages to try and read every week? That isn't such an annoying undertaking. So that's why it was 10 full weeks long. But so it was super fun. I
Nice.
It
had
was
the
so
best
fun.
time.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I love talking about it. Fox, huge fan of this book as well. Um, so we're just kind of Monte Cristo pushers. We also push like Joe Abercrombie. Like we have a lot
All
of the
the
same.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she and I
I think the
are.
first conversation we had was about the Count of Monte Cristo, and then we
Mhm.
found all the other stuff we liked. So yeah, we have
Yeah,
similar tastes. Yeah.
Nice.
absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
Um, yeah, and here we are. And
There
I
you
think
go.
we're gonna try and set up like a watch of one of the movies, but I think we have discussed that we both agree no adaptation so far has really done it justice, in my opinion. But that French one that you were telling me about in like the trailer and stuff, that
The
looks
trailer looks amazing. Yeah.
so good.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, no adaptation does it justice because of the ending, I think.
mm.
Yeah.
And the
Mm.
reaction to the ending we had in the with the read along,
Yeah.
it
Uh-huh.
it made me think that maybe they should have changed it. So
So
yeah.
an interesting thing just on that is
Mm-hmm.
because so the first time I read it was in high school French, and I had to read it in French.
Yep.
And our assignment at the end was to make our own ending because I think the teacher knew that we would get to
Oh,
the end
'cause
and go,
everyone hated
"Oh,
it.
is that like it?"
Oh,
And so,
predatory in nature.
so what? Yeah,
Yeah.
so what she ended up doing is,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the last like 10 chapters or whatever that we didn't read at first, and then we all
Mm-hmm.
recorded videos of how we think it should end, which then gets into us like having to speak French and her then being able to
Yeah.
grade us based on that. And then we read the end of the book, in which all of us went, "Oh, we're all
Ooh.
so wrong," and maybe we
Yeah.
like either ours or a classmate's ending better. So it was
Mm-hmm.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Of yeah, the ending. You're like, oh yeah,
Little
I
dissatisfied to say the least.
A little.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember closing the book. I imprinted on this book very young. Like it's the book that like got me into reading. Like my
Mm.
little 14-year-old brain just like latched on the likes of which I can't even describe. And the way I closed that book and went, what the fuck? But like I feel like after you sit with it for a while, like I don't
Yeah.
know, the power of the full story matters more than like the ending where you're just like, okay, not happy about it necessarily, but
Yep.
that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Fox, when was the first time you read it? And do you remember back your reaction to the ending or any part of it?
Yeah, I was I was 20 something, I don't know exactly, but I was still impressionable and I fell in
Yep,
love with Edmond Dantes immediately. And
Yep.
same.
I was a bit disappointed by the ending too because I thought that the ending of the movies was the ending of the book, so I thought he was
Mm.
going to end up with
Mhm.
Mercedes. But of course he's going to choose a 20 something year old hot Balkan girl and not a 40-year
Oh,
old
Right?
sad person. Of course. It's
Yeah.
very realistic.
Mercedes is the queen though. She's the
Yeah,
best. But yeah,
he is
I
the
know.
best. But
Yeah.
man,
I know.
Man.
Men.
Men, the amount of times that I would just like roll my eyes at some of the like shit that they would say in that book, and I just men every
I
time. Like,
don't remember
yeah,
catching
go
it
ahead.
when I was like the first read through, which like again was not in my first language and was I would have been
Yeah,
17 or 18. But this time around when I
that's
was
so
listening to
impressive
it,
though. I just have to say, I I could never.
no.
Anyways,
But yeah, this literal week I binged it in the last 10 days in order to make it here today. Uh
yeah,
the lines, especially this week, there was ones about like, well, women just gossip more, and when they're like, oh, like we didn't talk about that, and he's like, I forget who the character was and who he's even talking
Mhm.
is basically says to the woman like, I know even if you're good friends, you like tell each other secrets. I'm like, what do you women are doing.
Meanwhile, when all the men are together, all they do is gossip.
All they do is gossip.
That's all we're
Men spill the tea. I will stand by this. Men love a tea party more than women, almost.
Yeah.
I mean,
But they
I
don't
love a
call
tea
it
party.
gossip.
I want to hear it all, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times they're thirsty for the
For
details.
the two. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Crescent, this is your first read through, correct? You had not
Yeah.
picked it up.
Yeah, this is my first time through it.
What's
Brand
your
new.
take, especially on the
As-
ending or
yeah,
of
an
any?
undertaking
Yeah.
for sure.
What were your thoughts?
It picked up way faster than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Like I was, you see a 1,500 page book and you're like, all right, well, here's 400 pages of
What am I here
primer,
for? Yeah.
and no, it picked up fast, and I kind of like I started a little bit late too. I think you guys were like 4 weeks in or something by the time I got around to starting. But I ripped through the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And
They did such a good job with
I
it.
think pretty much when they start discussing how to basically get rid of Dantes, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Let's go. Yeah.
It's gonna get real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then so obviously the ending is what the fuck, but
A little lackluster, one might say.
a little is maybe an understatement.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
I would love to know if he originally wrote it in one way and then changed his mind, or if this is the right, like in his mind, did he? Because it does almost end up with like Mercedes is now living back in their own like she's there. Why not?
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, nope, left turn. We've just left her.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like, it's an interesting.
I could all use therapy.
Yes.
Again, that's a tie-in.
There's no
sure.
therapy in 1800s France.
Not in Marseille, please.
Not in
God.
Marseille.
Yeah.
Retail therapy is the only thing that exists in Marseille.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, quite sincerely. And Mercedes and Albert do not have it anymore. They're poor now. So there's only so much
Good for
that
them,
can be
though.
done.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a principled stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the journey that we go on with him. And then he's just like, one of my favorite little bits is like, he's got like pocket change now and he's like, look at me swimming in wealth at the end of the book because he like learns all these principles and like morals and stuff. And he's just, I don't know. I love his journey. I think it's one of the best like up and downs that we see in the whole book as far as like character development and learning lessons, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's come a long way. Well, let's relate this back to why us on Fade to Obsidian were like, hey, we should do the thing, is that it does relate to Red Rising a little bit. So before we jump into direct back and forth of it, did you guys, so I only heard it related when I was at a signing and a friend who we were getting a book signed for was like, can you actually get Pierce to sign the Count of Monte Cristo? And we were like, why? What? And then when he walked up, we were like, here you go, Pierce, sign the Count of Monte Cristo. And he's like, this is my favorite. And like, why not? And I was like, interesting. And at that point, I wasn't drawing connections too much. But then this read through, I was like, oh, I get it. So when you guys read, I guess Crescent, for you, the question would be, when you read Count of Monte Cristo, did you see Red Rising connections? And for the other, for Fox and Meringue, when you read Red Rising the first time, did you go, oh, I can see the Count of Monte Cristo? Like,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Actually, any book, any media, anything that has a revenge plot that's remotely similar I'm always like, Count of Monte Cristo. If there's a jail escape, Count of Monte Cristo. If there's two prisoners talking to each other, Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
It's always. There's so
It's all
much.
there.
Yeah, so many things are
I
inspired
mean,
by this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah,
feel like this is going to
we
have
have,
ruined other media for me because I'm
Mm.
gonna be
yeah.
doing the
Yeah,
same thing now. It's like
yeah,
It is
always.
the blueprint. It is
Yeah.
so good,
real.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, like we have this naive little baby who is the best at what he does. Um,
In
some
love with his
shit goes
woman.
down.
Yeah.
He's got a woman.
Yep.
Some shit goes down. He has some enemies that take that woman from him in obviously different
Ways.
versions of
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
He has a mentor or like mentors, somebody who raises him up and teaches him how to like gain power in whatever setting that he's in to just be like the best in the high society of his
And blend
story
in
and
seamlessly. Yeah.
blend in seamlessly,
Yeah.
get educated, be the most badass person that exists, like almost like a godlike figure. You get like raised up to this like insane status that is just like, I don't know, unreal
Also
to
with great
witness.
strength.
Yeah. Yeah. And like to adopt a different persona, we've got like Reaper versus Darrow, we've got Count of Monte Cristo versus Edmond Dante.
Yep.
And then just like fuck them up after that. Like do whatever you need to, like the pursuit of vengeance. We've got like this this question of like, do I follow this pursuit of vengeance? Do I don't know, let like human connection be more important for me? Like we're looking at like Mustang Darrow versus like Edmund and like showing mercy at all versus like his pursuit of vengeance. And there's just like so many things
Yeah.
that I feel like are neck and neck with each other.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was laughing when I was listening to it this time that I was like, "Oh, you're just like the best. Like there's nobody better and you're like so young and going to be captain and like and I was like, yep. Hi Darrow. Like, hi. I see you
Yep.
there."
Hull diver, you and your fingers,
Yeah.
hands of general. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't worry,
Mhm.
I can sail an entire yacht without anybody's help. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
at the
good
same
luck on
time,
that one.
being very naive about the world and
Yeah.
thinking that
Yes.
Yep.
No one's
no
gonna
one would
hurt
harm
me.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Think again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yep, for sure.
Oh.
Mm,
Yeah.
baby.
Just this young little guy. Yeah, little baby. You gotta like pat him on the head.
Yeah.
Oh, you have so much to learn.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he
Yeah.
learned. Yeah.
And he learned. Yeah.
And so
And he
much.
took it out on the world.
Yeah.
Truly,
And
Yeah.
truly.
we'll allow
I
it,
have
I
to
guess.
say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kind of bracket the entire story here. I am so
Yeah.
disappointed there wasn't a duel to the death on the island of Monte Cristo between
Yeah.
Dantes and Danglars.
Oh, that would have
Danglars.
Like,
been
come on,
so
you
good.
Dan-
foreshadow that and then don't have it pay off.
Danglars is not gonna go on any duel. He's a
Mm-mm. No,
coward.
he's gonna
Well,
He's
absolutely
gonna
figure his
not.
way
Oh
out of
fail.
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop me
Uh,
being disappointed about it.
Yeah.
yeah. Even on the like the
Oh,
spine of
there's
this one,
like
there's like
yeah,
a
there's
duel situation.
The
I'm just
only
gonna
thing
show
that
this
was
off.
missing
But
from
like,
this book is a duel. Yeah.
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 Whoever created that
Damn it,
clearly
Albert.
I was gonna say whoever
Yeah.
created that is clearly reading Three Musketeers and assuming that all
Yeah.
Dumas books are the same.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And when
Although
well Dumas
I
has
do love
all
D'Artagnan, I will
I
say.
do love D'Artagnan.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let's knock this over.
there you
There
go.
we go.
Yeah, clearly someone who designed that one. Dumas. Yeah, Three Musketeers.
They
We'll put
said
dueling on all of it.
it's all the same.
It's
Whatever. Yeah.
fine.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I think that this is the prettiest version.
That
It's
is a
like
very
gold
pretty
leaf.
version.
Obviously, you can kind of see the
Very
shine
pretty.
going on.
Mhm.
And on the side, I'm going to end up knocking some stuff over. But
Well, on that, just
anyway.
complete side note is I do have the pictures that they will be posted on Instagram by the time this goes live of a lot of
Yeah.
people's different covers because I always find that interesting with classics of every publisher has
Yeah.
the ability to publish this and so what they all
Mhm.
look like because Mine is like a very creepy man with a goatee. Like, what is happening in
Why
this
is he
picture?
like Dracula vibes out
Right?
of it?
I'm like,
No, he doesn't look like Hulk Hogan.
Why?
yeah.
Eh,
Like, not in
eh,
any way is this what I would see it as. But
No.
yeah, there's a few different
Uh-uh.
ones. The penguin. Oh, what are they called?
Yeah.
The cloth bound. Ooh, it's falling over.
Oh,
The
that's
cloth bound penguin covers classics. I
Mm-hmm.
should know what the name is of that because I make displays of them all the time. Is
that's
really
so
cool. It
pretty.
has all
Yeah.
the masks on it, and I think
I
that's
like that one.
yeah, because he does. He wears so many different masks, and other people in this wear
Mhm.
so many different masks of, and that's
Yeah.
why your character map Meringue was so helpful because you had to be like, hold on, that person has changed
Who
names.
is this?
Who
Yeah.
is this?
Like Fernand,
Whose
whatever, buddy.
child is this? And at what point does this
Don't even get me
child?
started.
Yeah. So
And
Yeah.
who raised you?
Who raised you is right. I had that question every other page. I swear to God. Well, I'm like, okay, so I've read it many times, but I've read like the abridged version versus the unabridged version, and they pull out so many things that really take away from like the euphoria that you get with some of the reveals. Like I can't remember everything, but I think they take out like Idea's like whole backstory. She only shows up in like the trial or something. So I'm like, guys, don't touch the abridged version. It's like, and then I think they pull out like all of Benedetto's backstory, and I'm like, no, you have to like have all of these hints that he's like
That's
Villefort's son,
wildly
or else
important.
it's like, yes, wildly important. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering this right, there's just like so much, and there are some things like Vampa's backstory feels a little excessive. Like some things are a little bit like, all right, get
yeah,
on with it. We don't
didn't
really
need
need it.
that.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but like a lot of the abridged stuff is pulling out everything that makes the ending so good and like
Yeah.
the true culmination of all the things. Um
Yeah.
anyway, what
Well,
were we talking
and
about?
just the different covers, but the
Sure.
different masks people wear. I went on a bit of a
Mm.
tangent because my I have a long history of Dickens and I've done essays on
Oh yeah.
Alexander Dumas, but relating them to the history of the time. And so this morning,
Oh yeah.
maybe last night, I was like, hold on, is
Yeah.
Ali Pasha? I'm going to put the disclaimer in
Yeah.
right now that some of us have read these, some of us speak different languages in some of this audiobook. So all the
Good
pronunciations,
call
just
out.
roll with it, roll with it.
Never
But
spoke French. Yep.
Yeah, Ali Pasha, I was like, were you
Hmm.
real? And was
Yeah.
100% that I was like, cool. Like, and went on a deep dive
Mhm.
of his background, which is not, is mentioned obviously, and you need to know it for Hade,
Yeah.
but you're sitting there being like, hold on. What of this is true?
Yeah.
What's real? And Dumas really does base most of his
Yeah.
stuff on what's happening. And
Yeah,
like,
it's real.
that's really cool. Yeah.
And Yanina is really close to me here. It's like maybe 2 hour drive away.
Oh wow.
Yanina.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yep.
Amazing.
Really close.
Oh,
that's awesome.
have you visited?
No, I haven't gone specifically to Yanina, but I've been to that region of Greece. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That is so cool. The
Yeah.
other thing, while we're speaking on that a little bit, um, highly recommend. TR Tightrope also read this. Um, there is a
Oh
book
yeah.
called The Black Count, which is about Alexander Dumas' father.
Yeah.
Why was that so hard to get out? And a lot of what happened to him inspired the Count of Monte Cristo. Like he was wrongfully imprisoned for a long time. And um, it like goes into the history of that all. Like he had really close ties with Napoleon, to the point where it's like, oh, Napoleon's like claiming a lot of quote unquote greatness for the work that Alexander Dumas' dad did.
Yeah.
And it just highly recommend if you are interested in a nonfiction like history read. The Black Count is a great read. It's so interesting, and if you like the Count of Monte Cristo, it's really cool to like hear
That's awesome.
about what actually happened that inspired the book.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, Alexander Dumas,
Mhm.
like I feel like everyone knows him for either Count of Monte Cristo or Three Musketeers or
Yeah.
what is actually a short story, but here in I feel like pop culture has pulled out The Man in the Iron Mask from his
Oh,
work,
yeah.
which is not the actual
Yeah.
title of it or anything. It was funny because I was looking that one up. I was like, hold on, when was
Yeah.
because I've written essays on Man in the Iron Mask and I couldn't find it, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, because you were something else,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason we went Leonardo DiCaprio, Man in the Iron Mask, and like ripped
Put him in a
that one out.
mask.
But
Nobody needs to see it. Well,
he's
isn't it
got
part
it
of like
in
the Dumas or
yes.
no, not Dumas,
There's no, it's the
D'Artagnan romances?
yes, it's technically a follow up to Three Musketeers.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, so those ones, but he's got an insane list, and even I drove
Yeah.
myself crazy today looking through because I was like, no, the essay I
Unreal.
wrote was on the conscript. This isn't even mentioned
Yeah.
in Wikipedia, and I was like, so I pulled it off my
Yeah.
shelf because I was like, does this book not exist and I've dreamt of it? And I was like, nope, I have it, and it's not
No,
even
it's
on the
definitely a thing.
Wikipedia
I
page.
have it
Yeah,
right
you
there. Yeah. It
okay? I
lives
was like,
on my bookshelf right there. Yeah.
how? So
You
he
didn't
just
dream it. It
okay, great.
exists.
But yeah, he pulls so much history, adventure. Like he's wrote so much and was inspired by what he was seeing, which was just
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, he was the height of Napoleon. He got to see all of
Mhm.
that and is talking to an audience who lived through exactly what he's
Yeah.
talking about. It's
Yeah.
not as if it's a distant thing. They all know what's happening.
Right.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. And to us with like the benefit of historical view, like the
Yeah.
context, it's like, oh, that was a huge time in history.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're living that, like it's just like that's my day to day. But like for us, we're like, oh no, Napoleon was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, which
Yeah.
is kind of unreal. And like along those lines, like he was paid by like the word. I think we were talking about this a little
Oh
bit.
my God.
And
Yeah.
it's so like same here. I can't tell an abridged story to save my life. Like I would rather say something in 40 words than in 5. Like I am such a yapper, and I feel like that is his vibe as well, Mr.
You are
Dumas.
not Kevin Malone.
Yeah.
No. Mhm.
Well, let's
Like I have a lot to say. Yeah.
I'm gonna take that and we're gonna pull a question here
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
all right, so these were released serialized. Uh
Mhm.
how does that affect your reading? Do you compare that to Red Rising being the series, not just Red Rising, but nowadays we're very used to book series? How
Mhm.
does that affect your reading or binging or whatever? Like what's your feeling towards being paid per word? Which is crazy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyone?
So you want to take that?
Brandon Sanderson would be the richest man alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Right. Just churn them out. Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah. Well, I think it was either you or Jabs that was talking about this, that like every once in a while he'll like recap something, which I
Yeah.
think is a good indication about how like it was released serially.
Yeah.
It was released in like different publications. Like people were lining up around the block to get the next installment of the Count of Monte Cristo. And so very similar to Red Rising, like for us, they get published in books, like in giant chunks. You get,
And we go crazy.
each one in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus back then it was, in various newspapers. I don't know if that's the right
Yeah, like
indication of
magazine,
what it is, but
journals.
like,
Was it like
Yeah.
a
yeah, like
monthly thing?
publications.
Yeah, monthly is usually what they
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So in some chapters, I would say like it covers things that had previously happened just as a reminder of what all
Yeah.
occurred, similar to like how Red Rising in each book you kind of get a little bit of a recap of where everybody was. But in this case they just bound it all up into one giant book and said, here you go.
Yeah.
By the
It
time we
reminds
get
me
to
of
it.
it reminds me of today how they write fan fiction.
Yes,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
good call out.
That
It's
is so
more
good.
it's more of a how fan fiction is done today than like what an author would do with a series. Yeah.
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 That's a great
Dumas
call
was
out.
writing
Fan
Napoleon
fiction.
fan fiction.
yeah,
Napoleon
French
fanfic.
Revolution fanfic.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
best. The best kind.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my read through this time, I'm so out of reading. Like 15 years ago would have only been in Charles Dickens, Dumas, Victor Hugo. Everyone who was paid per word, per these serialized, was my world. And I was totally out of it. It's just been so long since I've read the classics that then reading this, it was a lot of every once in a while you're like, yeah, get on with it. But again, I binged it in 10 days that you're not supposed to. So yeah, it was Jabs and I were talking about it because I was like, there's just parts of it that I was like, I know, get on with it, get on. And I had to reset my mind rather than Jabs, who was following along with the read through and was doing, she would read on the weekends and then leave the whole week. So would forget parts. And there's parts that, like, for how long you guys did the read through, you haven't seen that character in 3 or 4 weeks. So of course you're going to need that little bit of a recap rather than, it was very interesting to me to be like, yeah, get on with it. I'm over this, which probably is the way I read some of, if I'm doing binging a series, those first few chapters or whatever, you're like, I got it. I know you have to do this for a reason, but let's move along. So trying to reset my mind and how I was reading it was an interesting thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm very similar to you though. Like if there's a series and I go one of two ways. I feel like if the first one's out, I'll read it and then I have to wait until all the other ones, and then usually I start a reread when the next one comes out. Or I say I'm not touching that until they're all released, and then I will binge them through. And I think, generally speaking, I prefer to just binge them through. So I kind of have that same, okay, wrap it up, got it, I don't need this.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah.
I like both. I like binging through a series, but I also like the anticipation, talking about waiting for it to come out. I like it both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely more of a fan of binging, but the wait for Lightbringer brought me to the den. So
there's
I mean, there's something
good
to say
things
about
come to those who wait, as we learn.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Wait and hope.
Yeah.
Wait and hope.
So taking it back to our stories, both stories, other than Dantes to Darrow, and I would say Io to Mercedes, what other connections did you guys see while we were going through?
Jacopo and Severo.
Oh!
Really?
Okay.
My boy was around from the beginning to the end. Like, and he's like, Dantes trusts him one time, and then it's like, this is my guy.
I like
set
it.
for life. Yeah.
I
he
like it.
disappears for most of the book, and then you're here to reach the culmination of everything. Yep. I love that came out of it for you.
I never made that connection, but it makes so much sense.
Never in my life, but I'm never gonna argue that. That was good. I love that.
Especially when he's acting injured on the island and he's Jacopo, what's his name? Says I'll wait for you. I'll not take like the mission and I'll wait for you, and he's like, yeah, that's Severo.
Yeah.
That's definitely Severo.
It really is.
Ride or die.
I didn't make the connection.
Ride or die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my god.
Me too. That warmed my heart so much. Because I feel like Jacopo gets forgotten a lot, but I don't know.
I forgot him.
I enjoy him.
I won't. I couldn't remember what happened, but I was like, did we seriously just leave him? Like, it was so. That's one of the satisfying things at the end. Is I was like, he's back. We're back. Okay, because I was like, where did he go?
We won. He's here.
Yeah, he's just hanging out on the yacht the whole time. It's fine.
He's living the dream, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
going on side missions for.
Edmund.
Side
He's got
quest,
a side quest or two. Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else? Like,
one of my biggest ones was Faria. He kind of takes the Abbe Faria. He kind of takes I think, a couple different people. Like, he takes over the persona of both Fitchner and like Mickey, and like raising
Dancer.
our
Yeah.
protagonist. Yes, our protagonist up and like teaching him and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, he's kind of like got some parallels with Kavix, where he is considered a little bit mad, quote unquote, by everybody, and like Kavix, like maybe a little bit more deliberately in letting people assume that he's kind of crazy, but like Faria maybe doesn't want everyone to think that he's crazy, but he does have like this touch of like madness to him, which I think is kind of
You
fun.
get away with more things if you think he's mad.
Yeah.
Like
I love that trope. Like anytime it's used. Yes.
Much like Kavix, he almost dies.
Yeah.
And then, well, obviously
we
does
have
die,
a little...
but let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
We're hoping.
Oh my god.
But
don't
his
don't
death,
project
like,
that to Red
facilitated...
So Donglar is definitely Nero. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I kind of thought that he was Villefort because he cares more about his reputation and stuff than his family, and just... I think he's got a bit of both. I think he's like a huge villain, and maybe he's an amalgamation of everybody.
I also wrote down Nero is Villefort.
You put Villefort.
Yeah. You and I are always on the same wavelength.
Yep.
He's also government, right? Villefort from the beginning is government rather than the rest of them.
Yep.
Oh,
and he has the most power.
I was thinking just rich as fuck.
Rich as fuck.
Yeah.
You know who I've written down is Danglar? Lysander.
Oh, unpack that one. Unpack that to me.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, because in my heart, I think Lysander is a coward.
Yep. Fully agree.
And
co-signing that.
He turns his back on everyone. He turns his back on everyone. And that's why maybe I compared them.
Yep.
That's totally fair. Yep.
I fully agree. Fully agree. A little bit of... I didn't write anyone down for this, but like Candaroos, I like to call him Ratman because he just kind of gives vibes. He's got like Peter Pettigrew energy about him.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of that.
He does.
Yeah. He's just annoying, to be honest. He never goes away. He's a little bit cockroach man also.
Yeah.
You know who I wrote down as a character, but is actually the treasure of the island? Quicksilver.
Quicksilver is the treasure.
Quicksilver is the treasure.
It's one of those money rules everything around me moments where,
Yeah.
exactly that.
Yep.
When you got to be the bank.
Also, at the beginning, I thought that Darrow was Edmond Dantes, but he learns quickly that revenge is not the option, and he changes his mind at the gala, and he chooses love, and he chooses to break the chains and everything else he did. But the role of the determined vengeance, I think, is taken up after by Atlas.
And then you get the
John that we just...
and you get Atlas starts pretending to be other people.
Exactly.
He
uses all of his resources to get information about everyone. He's in the loop about everything, and he's determined to get his way, and he doesn't care who ends up dead, who ends up anywhere. Like he just spared his mother and no one else.
Yeah.
So, and maybe also Lysander, but I don't want to compare Lysander to.
No, we're not giving him that.
Don't give him any credit whatsoever.
No.
I feel like, some characters learn that the pursuit of vengeance like strikes the innocent alongside the guilty and maybe learn from that, and some people don't. And I don't want to give Lysander any credit whatsoever.
Doesn't deserve it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And also, Darrow mentioned that he read The Count of Monte Cristo, which is also banned by the society. Why is it banned by the society?
Well, because we learn we can take up arms against the people who have wronged us, perhaps.
Well, that and like moving yourself up, right? Like Dante's starting so poor and just can then integrate himself so well into society of like,
Seamlessly. Yeah.
yeah. So I can
Mm-hmm.
100% of like it being banned because, don't get inspired. Don't think that you can
Yeah.
do this. This is,
You belong in your caste, in your
yeah.
color. Yep.
Well, and with
And
carvings, we know they could, in theory, switch. I mean, obviously, Darrow. Um,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
switch, so why not
Exhibit A.
change
yeah,
your
but
way in the same way?
Because Darrow has read it, he learned the lesson early, but all the
Mm-hmm.
other golds haven't read it because it's banned, so Lysander couldn't
Yep.
learn that lesson.
That's a
Right.
good
And
That
he
was
catch
wouldn't have
on
bad.
read
you.
it.
Good,
That
like,
would have.
call out of. I knew it was mentioned, but not that it
Yeah.
was banned. Like, deep dive there,
Yeah.
Fox. Good call out on
Did
that
not
one.
remember that
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No.
I
Mm-mm.
remember
Yeah, there's a few of them that are.
while he's in the box,
Oof.
he's
Yeah.
reciting the Battle of Troy,
Yeah.
and what else? He was
Mm-hmm.
reciting them in all the dead languages. He said
Yeah.
French, English, all
Yeah.
the dead languages, and he said the Count of Monte Cristo, and I think that's where he mentions that it was banned by the society, but I can be wrong.
Yeah, give me
Interesting.
a second here.
I don't know why I know that.
Ooh, we're
You're just
we're
on
fact
it.
checking.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just looking.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Is sustaining yourself on that when you're
maybe he
isolated.
said one of the
Unreal.
books that are banned. So several books are banned.
I'm sure there's
I
quite a few.
I bet
think
you
there's banned.
anything like
Oh yeah.
1989 or in 1984, they're not letting that one
before
through.
Yeah.
There's a bunch that I.
That Taylor Swift slip that you just had in
I'm
1989.
so sorry. Guess what world I've
That
been
was
living
so
in
good.
is the 1989 world. 1984.
I love it. No, I loved it. It was so good. The other one that I kind of, hold on, I wrote some notes for this. I thought a little bit, and maybe it's just this one item, that the Morels and their like need for honor is a little bit like our boy Cassius, where it's like honor above all, and your honor remains. And as we know, the Morels are
Yeah.
big honor boys.
We love the morals.
They're so wholesome. What we learn?
So he does not actually mention the Count of Monte Cristo. Dying Earth, the
In our heart, he
Lamplighter,
does.
the Ramayana, the Odyssey, and then he talks about the lost languages.
Does he read it though in Red Rising? Because you're checking
definitely
Morning
reads
Star,
it,
right?
but
It didn't show up in a keyword search
Oh.
from.
Interesting.
Maybe I just made it up. I
It's
don't
okay.
know how I know
It's
this.
canon
That's the
now.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
it
no,
sounded
there we
right,
go.
and I'm on board.
No. So before I sleep, I drink a tonic laden with processing enhancers and speed. Listen to The Colors, The Iliad, Ulysses, Metamorphosis, The Theban Plays, The Draconic Labels, Anabasis, and restricted works like The Count of Monte Cristo, Lord of the Flies, Lady Casterly's Penance,
There it is.
1984, and The Great Gatsby.
I called it 1985. Ooh, Great Gatsby. Because Great Gatsby
Just
is
stopped
definitely
on.
a. Great Gatsby is definitely Count of Monte Cristo in the 1920s. I was listening and I was like, this is just the Great Gatsby.
I haven't read Gatsby in a minute.
Oh, I love Great
Me either.
Gatsby. Let's do that one as a read through. Connect them
Huh,
all.
we should.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's an interesting that it would be restricted as well. But it's also the being poor, taking yourself to higher heights, throwing parties in order to impress your girlfriend. I don't know if that would
Somebody.
be restricted, but
Yeah.
that's all I ever. I love
They
the
love
Great Gatsby.
a lavish party in the society. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So there you go. Great call out there, Fox, that, even Crescent had to do a double search on.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
But
I
if he was a fan
didn't
of the
clock
Count of
it.
Monte Cristo, he maybe would. I don't know. It stuck in my mind when I read it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
For sure.
wasn't even sure if it was from the book.
Yeah.
Nope. Sure was.
There you go.
Amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and also I
Yeah,
think what we see during, and I'm pulling this, so Meringue, you sent us questions ahead of time. I don't think I shared them with Crescent. Crescent's going into this blind.
Nope.
I shared them with Fox.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Again, vibes only today. It's fine.
Yeah,
No, but
it's
it was
fine.
really
I'm
helpful.
jumping around all over the place, whether or not I'm using. But the one you have here is looking at the
Okay.
political landscape that Count of Monte Cristo takes place in, which we touched on with Napoleonic Wars. It's back and forth. If we have a monarchy, what's happening? And does the society face similar issues?
Yeah.
I think this then gets into, and maybe why it's banned is because the society has had what would be the monarchy for so long. Octavia is on the throne, and then you've got the the Republic coming up, which would be the the Bonaparte, which is really interesting. And so that probably also leans into why it's banned. Of don't get this idea that another political party or system can come into effect. We're
like
happy
this
with
is the
our
way it is.
monarchy. Thank you very much.
Yeah. There's no alternative. This is
Yeah.
life, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I think, Fox, you brought this up a couple times in the conversations that we were having in the thread, is like, if we're looking at like the society versus the rising, it's like you can, similar to how like Danglars attacked Dantes, you can like kind of tell on somebody that they're like from the opposing party or like perspective. So if you were like a royalist versus a Bonapartist, you can say, which is why Dantes was arrested, was because he had a letter from Napoleon that he was, giving away. He was a naive little idiot and he had no idea what was going on. Precious little baby again.
Precious little baby to think that anything on the island of Elba is safe. Precious little baby.
Yeah, he was like, my captain just told me to like deliver a letter. That's all I was trying to do. What do you mean that I'm now like a conspirator delivering a letter from the exiled emperor? Whatever.
but the Dantes doesn't call him that. He calls him the emperor. I saw the
Yeah.
emperor on the island. So maybe he was leading toward that.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
of a
not. What
But he
do
Bonapartist.
they?
was so young and
The
naive.
exile. What do they call him? They have a name for Napoleon. My brain is gone, but it's like the exiled. They just
Same.
they
Yeah.
just go. He's over there. You're right. He's no longer the emperor. He is.
Is he the Corsican? Is he from Corsica?
He is the
He
Corsican, but
is.
Yeah.
he-
Do they
what do
refer to him as that at one point? Part of me
He's
is
known as
like,
the
so
Corsican, yeah.
part of me is like, they tattled on Edmund by saying that
Yeah.
he was a Bonapartist in the way, this is maybe a stretch, but it hurts a little bit when I say it, in the way that Ares was found out.
Ooh,
And so, so like you tattletale on somebody who has the information of like, you're from the opposing faction, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
The society versus the rising. Lost my words for a second. And then like the royalists versus the Bonapartists, and tattletaling, and Edmund got, thrown in prison for 14 years versus like Ares, who got fully beheaded. Like someone was tattletaled on for being from the opposing side, and shit escalated.
Yeah.
Big time.
I found it.
Tell me.
He's the usurper.
Usurper, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the ebook version that I have, chapter 11 is called The Corsican Ogre.
Ooh.
Ogre.
Okay.
Ogre. Okay, I'll allow it.
I love how every edition the translation was different, and we all compared.
Yes.
When
that was so my favorite. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I took literature classes of this era, as well as a few Brit-lit classes that were like pre Canterbury Tales, so Beowulf, talking, things like that. You used to have to, like, if I was doing this book, I would have to hand in my paper and this copy of the book, and the poor professors would take home boxes of books so that they knew exactly, this is the exact quote I use, so that they knew. And that was like, at the beginning, it was really interesting how it evolved. Of and sometimes they'd be like, you have to buy this exact book. But if you got the really nice professors who knew, like, I'm not going to force you to buy a $40 copy of Count of Monte Cristo when, like, I'm sure, this was $10 at a used bookstore. Like, so you would hand in this version so that when they're trying to find that quote, they could just go, page 436. There it is. You did it properly. So that, like,
They did not get paid enough is what I'm hearing.
No.
That is so much work.
Yeah.
And like we had the benefit of an army of people reading different copies, which was always fun.
Yeah.
To like see the different translations. One of my favorite things, Fox, when you brought up like whether or not they said like daddy kangaroos. I was just like, what were some of the other things? I was like, absolutely not. He is not daddy. But mine said daddy. Like, I'll show you my version.
Mine's I think
mine's the Modern Library. This one's my favorite reading copy, which you can see is hella beat up and yellowed. But mine said daddy kangaroos. And I, on a moral level, stand against that. But
Yep.
I don't think mine says daddy, or else I feel like I would have pulled that out.
Tragically, mine did. And I didn't lose sleep about it, but I did feel like I would have.
That's so funny.
What was that in French? Papa?
Papa? I'm guessing papa.
I studied Spanish, so I don't know.
Papa is like the familiar to father, like, right? Like, so my guess would be papa. And then they just went, how do we make it so that it's clear that connection is more familiar than just father?
Yeah.
Father.
Honestly, modern sensibilities, daddy is not the word to be using in reference to rat man. I'll tell you that. No. Absolutely not.
But like, when were these translated though? Like, I feel like this is the Wordsworth classic. I'm sure it was translated in like the 1900s.
Mine's Lorenzo Carcaterra, and he did a great foreword. If anyone has that, please read it.
The name of the translator was never revealed.
Oh yeah,
devastating.
I feel like we were going
1846. 1846 translation.
I have that version too. Mine's with Lorenzo, and you probably can't read this, but the intro that he writes is so good, and just the first statement is Edmond Dantes is a part of us all, and it just like goes into just like a really great character like dissection. Maybe that's not the right word, but I really loved his intro. Lorenzo is doing the Lord's work. Speaking of the different translations, I think everyone had it a little bit different, but there were a couple direct quotes that we were like, oh, Red Rising coded. And one of them was like, expect me. Did you guys also have that one?
No.
You know why?
Oh my God.
You know what? Because I heard it when I listened to the audiobook. I heard expect me. I was like, perfect. Oh my God, expect me. And I get the book.
Yeah.
And it's not in the book. It's something else.
And you have a Wordsworth classic, right?
That's
we probably. I think we have the same.
And even in the ebook, the one that I was reading, the ebook, even in that one, it wasn't expect me because I did a search. No expect me anywhere.
How rude.
It was
mine had expect me, so I think it's the Modern Library.
Okay, when
did you have it?
There's 3 instances of expect me.
Walk through them. Is Faria one of them? What do we have?
I think it's chapter 15 when Faria says it to Edmund.
Yes.
Yep,
that's the one that I have noted in mine.
Chapter 10.
Okay.
Which...
Is that pre-arrest?
They're talking about... Are we in this chapter? Villefort is on the road to Paris. Enter at the Tuileries. Hartwell. That's not a person. Dear God. Oh, this is the king speaking with.
That whole section.
Some others.
Probably be
it's not a good. It's not. I will receive any person you please, but you must not expect me to be too confiding.
Oh,
like that wasn't.
That's not it.
It wasn't
that's
one of the good ones.
That's not
just
like expect me throw yourself off a cliff.
Yeah. I was gonna
So
say I achieved nirvana reading Expect Me.
the
In retrospect,
first
I was like, this is peak.
the real Expect Me is
Yeah.
so be it then, replied the Count, and extending his hand towards a calendar suspended near the chimney piece, he said, "Today is the 21st of February," and drawing out his watch, added, "It is exactly 10:30. Now promise me to remember this and expect me the 21st of May at the same hour in the forenoon."
This fucking guy. 21st of May. This comes out on the 22nd of May.
Yes, it does.
And my birthday's the 23rd, so I feel like it's all coded. It's
Everybody watch
it's
this.
like they knew.
May coded as a birthday present to me.
Yeah.
Please.
We will. We'll have to announce that on the
This
Instagram.
this is the Instagram
that is
post
required to
I'm reading.
watch as a gift to Meringue.
Yep.
God bless. The other quote that I called out, again, probably dependent on your translation, but this one always makes me feel some type of way, is it's not exact, but it's so coded with the first line of Red Rising is, if they do not bring us peace, we will give them war.
Ooh.
And that gives me chills. And that's just, I think while Ide is like repeating her past and like ultimately what we know now after finishing it, the betrayal of Fernand and all of the nightmare scenario that came with that. They were talking about when they show back up, they don't bring us peace, we bring them war. And I just think that's so good. That really gets me.
That's great.
Yeah, totally probably dependent on the translation, but my version had it.
Yep.
I imagine the vibe is there.
Yeah,
the vibe is there. Absolutely.
I would love to know, just going back to the daddy chat, of how often people actually just translate this, or are we at a point that people have gone, it's fine, we've dealt, like,
it's been done
everyone, we don't need to, because I know Beowulf gets redone every, like, we're just getting Tolkien's version of it, like, Beowulf gets redone constantly, but at what point have they gone, we've done Count of Monte, or are we gonna get a version that it's like all in current slang and some of the things?
Because
nobody's touching daddy in current.
Nobody's touching
daddy. If you had to pick a daddy, though, if you had to pick a daddy out of all of the characters in Count of Monte Cristo, what's your thought?
Like sexy daddy, that's what we're talking about? Is that like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sugar daddy is Dantes. Dantes is like Count of Monte Cristo. He's a sugar daddy.
All the daddies.
He's just the ultimate sugar daddy.
I imprinted very young. Anyone who is just like this mastermind, morally gray, doesn't always make the right choices. Daddy. The end. Full stop. Just
he's daddy.
If you're just like a genius, the best at everything somehow.
Because I feel like all the other men in this, I find like somehow annoying, even if like Maximilian, I'm like, I get it, you're devoted to your girl, but like, can you calm down for half a second here? Like, just...
He has never been chill a day in his life.
It was all or nothing.
He needs to reel it in.
I'm just going to continue to threaten to kill myself. Like,
And for some reason, that was peak romance back in the day. Yes, like, go to therapy, buddy. You're fine. Chill out. But that was like peak romance in like the 1800s, where it's like, I cannot go on without you.
Well, I liked, I think it was Jabs made the comment, because I was only scrolling through as you guys were talking, but Jabs made the comment of like, for Romeo and Juliet being out for so long, you would think he would pick up on this. Like, he's just like, nope, she's dead. Even though the Count is like, maybe suss out that she's not. And he's like, nope, gone. Bye.
But what is the name of that chapter? Pyramus and Thisbe? Is that like the Greek metamorphosis from Obed? The story
that was the first time that they meet, that we see them meet at the wall.
Where it's after, like, oh, if
after when he, as Chris had said, manipulates her into caving in and running away with him.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't kill himself. Yeah.
In modern hindsight, a lot of this is not healthy. But I'm sure in 18 whatever,
Yeah, they don't.
this was everything to them.
So
I don't
romantic.
know.
But yeah, so back to your question of daddy,
Falling
like
for this.
none of them
Yeah.
but the Count, who is a sugar daddy and
The Count's
also
the
has
closest.
his own issues. Like I'm not
Oh yeah.
touching any of them.
Also, he's such a drama
Bye.
queen.
Oh, I know. He lives for the drama.
All the drama. He could have told Maximilian that she isn't dead at the end. He lets him think she's dead for a month.
Yeah, for a month.
For what? For
For what?
what, buddy?
So he leaves a chance for things to go wrong and drama to ensue. That's why.
Yeah.
Because he's a drama
Yep.
queen.
Drama queen. Yeah, he's like
Um,
always testing people. Like I
Yeah.
think we talked about this a little bit. He's a lot of times, even in all of his vengeance, he kind of sets up the dominoes, but he lets their own, I don't know, terrible qualities be their ultimate downfall.
Yeah.
Like Candaroos, he kind of would have let him just exist on his own, but he got greedy. He was unsatisfied with a
Yep.
normal life. And so he let his own downfall be the domino,
Yep.
flick, where he didn't need to try and rob the Count of Monte Cristo. He was already getting money from Benedetto. He was already like fine. He was decently established, but like he was so unsatisfied with his place in life, he still tried to rob the Count. And so ultimately he was like, okay, you knock down your own domino, then you're dead. That's on you. He let like their own shortfalls, I guess, be their downfall. He was always testing people. He let them like
I think. Yeah.
tie their own noose. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that trait of Edmund is also a trait of Apple. He is constantly testing people,
Ooh.
making and then deciding who he's going to support. That's why he absolutely loves
Yeah.
Darrow, because Darrow is, I don't know, he looks up to him in a lot
Yep.
of ways. Also, he is also Edmund Dante's type, because he
Yeah.
literally built himself up while he was in prison.
Mhm.
All those quotes he told.
Yep.
What was the prison's name? Under the Sea.
Deep grave.
Yeah.
Oh, Deep Grave.
Deep Grave.
Great.
Yep.
Is that why
We
I
should
love
call it
Apple so
Sebastian.
much?
Sebastian.
Yeah. The
Under
giant
the
crab
sea.
thing.
Yeah.
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 Under the sea. Yeah.
Hey,
And
I just
also he can't say anything in 5 words when he can say it in 40. Same
No,
shit.
he's
yeah,
getting paid per
100%.
word.
He's the
Apple is
That's
100%
why I love
drama.
paid per
Apple.
word.
Yeah. I love him.
Apple
He
is the
goes,
drama. Yeah.
yeah, he takes something and he takes it 5 steps further. And God, I love seeing myself in media.
But it's all
It's so good.
immaculate. Like
Apple's
nothing
favorite book
out
is
of
the
place.
Thesaurus.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Apple is the
Absolutely, yes.
well,
Are
we'll
we
go
going
back.
in chronological order?
We're
Did you
everywhere.
already do your, what was the basic bitch White Claw that you just finished? Who was
Oh,
that
yeah.
for?
That was
Danglars?
for Danglars and Villefort
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
and Catarus. But
Was it a cherry flavor?
Ratman?
no, it was
Was it
watermelon.
cherry
Oh,
flavor?
watermelon's the best one.
And
Watermelon's
now
the best one. Oh,
It's
okay. So
time.
what's in this? What did you call
It's
it?
time.
this is
in
Hot
it?
100.
What is that? I
Phillips
don't know
Hot
what that
100.
is.
Basically, 100 proof cinnamon heart.
Alright.
I
So
just-
like
my
fire
gag
whiskey to
reflex
the
just kicked
end.
Yeah,
Fireball to the
this
end.
is
what that
literally just 50% liquor.
was.
Oh my God.
Oh, no, thank you.
You're a trooper. Listen, again.
There
There it is.
Wow.
Just a reminder,
was
is
a
at
clean-
11:37
That was the cleanest shot I've
time.
ever seen.
11:37 a.m. Crescent
I
time.
like
And
cinnamon
the
heart.
cleanest shot I've ever seen.
Oh.
There was 0% grimace. That was just,
I mean, my preferred strength of liquor is like 60% plus. So
we're different. We're different people.
yeah,
That's what I'm
like this is
learning.
going 60.6% straight out of a cask.
Wait,
I
hold
have
on. Let
to
me
figure out a
let me
way to
eyeball
say
my Navy
Gracia.
strength.
Navy
Oh,
strength
this is
normally
only
60.
50,
Oh, 57?
51 point,
Because Navy strength is normally.
or
that's the whole thing is-
57.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
Maybe
double
a bunch
usually.
of babies.
57.1. I've done shots of this. Again, this is not an open version, but
Okay, can
Capable
I?
gin, I will
You can
say.
all watch
Yeah.
how my brain works in this capacity that we were talking Navy strength. Gin, I went
Mhm.
Navy strength. Rum,
Same.
Nelson's body, which is during the Napoleonic Wars, being taken back to England. I'm just walking through how I'm getting to my next question.
No, perfect. I
Napoleonic's
love it.
Nelson's body after the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805,
Mhm.
going back to England
Mhm.
in a cask of rum, leads us
Mhm.
to Count of Monte
Mhm.
Cristo importing live fish in casks. That's how my brain worked
What a
there.
segue. What a
Look at you
segue.
go.
Is this a
Thank you
link
for
to?
walking us through this because I would not have gotten there.
I know, right? Where my mind
I loved
goes.
it.
It's crazy.
I loved it. Yeah.
Links us to Meringue. You were on the episode where we believe that Diomedes has live fish on the
Absolutely
ship,
fish
and
farmer, and he
therefore,
names them all. Yep.
yeah. And I read that like this time around listening to Count of Monte Cristo, and it's like you are importing
Yeah.
live fish, which in the 1800s seems insane.
Yeah, that
In
is
my mind,
that's a
but this is
lot.
Diomedes.
Yeah.
This is
He's
Diomedes importing
Daddy
his live
Meaties.
fish. Yeah.
Again, Daddy Meaties. Daddy Count of
Daddy-o-meaties.
Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
Daddy Omedes.
Daddy
Yep.
Count of Monte.
Exactly. There's
But
the
that's
through line right there.
yeah.
The
There's
fish, the daddy, the all of it.
my brain. It's a weird place in there.
Something about
It was
fish daddy.
excellent. I
Yeah, thank you.
enjoyed. I don't like where that's going. No, I'm not touching that one.
Um,
Is
um,
it slimy?
No, I don't want to hear about it.
getting back on topic though, but other relating between either Red Rising and Count of Monte Cristo or other things on this subject. We're gonna jump back in.
Yes. Perfect.
Well, yeah. I don't know if there's
Um,
any other direct parallels that I pulled. I feel like there's always every once in a while something, but what about you guys?
yeah.
There's there's Darrow not eating
Oh yeah.
any food under
Yeah.
Romulus's rule, just like
Yeah.
Edmund didn't eat anything under Monsarf
Yeah.
when he was at the
In
ball.
his enemy's home. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the whole story of the fish was about that. It,
Yeah.
I think when he was, I think maybe I don't know when he was talking. That's where I connected it when he was talking about being so meticulous in revenge that the poison ends up in the fish,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and and then I think he mentions that he wouldn't eat anything served by his enemy. I
Yeah.
might be wrong, but that's where I made the connection.
Yeah. For
No,
sure.
exactly that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because Mercedes calls that out. She's like, "Why?
Yeah,
Why are you
why
not
Eat
are you
eating
this.
eating?
here?"
Eat the peach.
Have some
Eat
water.
Mm-hmm.
the grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
Mm-hmm.
some
And he
ice.
like,
Throws them
yeah,
on the
and he's
ground.
like, yes,
Happy birthday
exactly
to the
that.
ground.
Yeah.
Yes. Not a part of your system, man.
My dad's not a
That is
cell phone.
that is like one of the most iconic Lonely Island skits out of SNL to ever exist. I quote that more often than maybe I need to, but
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Um, I love that bit because he is talking about, he's like, I have forgiven her, but that doesn't mean that I forgive the whole family. And like,
Yeah.
it's technically Fernand's home, even though she's now a part of it. He's like, I forgave you, but that does not mean that I
Right.
forgave him or his spawn. Although, like, I think he does respect Albert, however you
Yeah.
want to pronounce it.
Mhm.
Because they go through like the whole duel, et cetera, which is another, like, if we want to talk about specifically the parallels between Darrow and the Count of Monte Cristo, I have some notes. So we start off with a man who's like the best at what he does. He is naive in his youth. He finds like a mentor and or mentors who like raise him up to this like godlike status, whether it's like money or just like world lessons, etc. He adopts a new persona, Reaper, Darrow, Edmund. count.
Yep.
He can fuck somebody up in a duel, like whether it's Lorne trained or just like we never really like get the backstory at why Edmund is so good at like shooting or swords, other than like, he probably trained in the like 10 years plus off screen that we had from him. But again, he's just inherently somehow good at everything that he attempts in life.
Yep.
Just like this absolute mastermind, morally gray, doesn't always like do the right thing. Like he has to, I don't know, sacrifice innocence in his pursuit of vengeance against like the guilty. Like I'm looking at like the docks that Darrow and Victor's like share the load. Like Edmund does not have anyone to share the load as far as he's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just Jacopo.
Just Jacopo, just Severo, our little buddy. He like sometimes attempts to spare others that he deems worthy of sparing. I'm thinking of like the one instance where where he like puts Roke to sleep because he's trying to quote unquote spare him from the gala that he like doesn't ultimately go through with, but like he's trying to bear some quote unquote innocence to the best of his ability, but like ultimately his revenge does not always spare the innocence. But like Edmund also tries to like, I don't know, like save the children. We're looking at like Eugenie, we're looking at like Albert, like the children are not necessarily at fault for the sins of the father, if you want to use that phrase. Yeah. Where it's a little bit of like debating what's more important. Is it like rewarding or sparing the good in people versus like enacting vengeance against the bad? Like what's more important? And like learning that like you're not like quote unquote God. You're like not responsible for karma. Like karma has to like come into play on your own and all of those things.
Yeah.
There's just like a lot with Darrow and Edmund that I see as like a very strong through line, and like debating whether your vengeance is more important than the good things in life. Like, and I think Darrow's maybe a little bit wiser in that sense. Like he ultimately, he still enacts vengeance, but he also lets love win in being with Mustang ultimately. But like for a long time, all through like Golden Sun, he's like pushing Mustang away because he's like, I care about you, but my vengeance is more important than that. And like his like loss of like humanity, I would say, happens in a couple instances. Like he loses his humanity and enacts vengeance after EO's pass. And then he kind of regains that after meeting everybody and like, forming friendships, etc. But as soon as he learns that he loses a child, his humanity is once again ripped from him. And like his I don't know, ability to reel himself in a little bit is once again lost. And that's where he like spares Roke, etc., etc. But there's definitely like a through line, I would say, in weighing humanity and thinking that you're not the most powerful person who gets to like decide the fate of someone else, like enacting karma yourself versus, you get it, versus like understanding.
Yeah. One thing that jumped
You're
out
not
there is
God.
talking about, which is kind of at the end of the book, a strong theme is that the sins of the father is not of the son, which Darrow 100%, his number one enemy at the beginning is Nero, and then he's like, but what if I fall in love with the daughter? Like he at no point
Whoops.
really faults Mustang of like, oh, your dad's a terrible person and therefore I'll turn back. And I think Dantes ebbs and flows with that. Like he does want some of the kids to suffer. Like he doesn't give a shit about Valentine until Maximilian's like, hey, I love her. And he's like,
I love her.
Okay, fine.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Like, God damn it.
God damn
like,
it.
fine.
Change costumes.
We have to spare the Villefort. Yeah.
But Darrow, I
also,
think,
like, I
very
love
much is like, okay, the sins of the right, and even that at the end of Morningstar, sparing Lysander, of like giving him that maybe hope of like, hey, he's not his grandmother. Now we know that's doesn't turn out
Womp
the
maybe
womp.
not our
best.
best choice. Yeah.
But he, for the most part, goes through and, sins of the father is not reflective of who the children are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can't fault him for thinking the best in someone, in my opinion. Like, just because you see someone as better than they are doesn't mean that it's your fault that they don't meet those expectations. Like, it's okay to think that someone like is morally or whatever better than they actually are. That's not your fault,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Cool. That's seeing the best
But
in people.
yeah, exactly. I agree. And that doesn't mean you can't change your mind later and fuck them up in Red God, hopefully.
We'll see. Or is Red God going to have the ending of Count of Monte Cristo in which we go, oh,
Whereas
him and Mustang have just fucked off somewhere, but leaving, I would say, leaves the riches, leaves everything to the next generation, which might be a thing in Red God of like, we've done our time. Here you are for you. Who knows?
Who knows? But like, I hope for the best.
Dooming the
I
next
hope we've like,
generation to a season of war.
Yeah.
well,
We.
yeah. I hope it's like, here are all of my life lessons that I have had to like crawl through the mud for.
Yep.
And I need you to take this and be wiser.
Here,
Which,
take my
like, I
7-book
don't.
memoir
Yeah.
entitled
Yep.
Red Rising.
Yes, exactly. And this is now your starting point, so you get to take it, however, much further.
Yep.
That's like my hope for it, and hopefully a more like satisfying ending. But like, take all of the lessons that Daryl had to crawl through in order to get to where he is. And I would say that like Daryl was more emotionally intelligent than Edmund, which is also tough to say out loud because like again, everyone needs therapy in space, but they don't get it.
Yep.
And but he still like I think learns lessons better than we see Edmund doing because it really takes a while for him to be like, oh shit. Like he watches
Yeah, because
Edward die. Yeah.
Darrow is actively living. He's living. He's interacting with people. He's
Mm-hmm.
being a human. But the Count is given up on everything.
No.
He's given up on his
Yeah.
future. He's given up on his life. He doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
connections anymore. He just has one goal, and that's it. That's why he
Yeah.
doesn't learn anything, because
Yep.
he just has one point he needs to get to, and nothing else matters.
Yep.
Yeah. He fully gives up his
And yeah,
identity.
and even with all his coldness, he still forms connections with people that fuck up
Yeah.
his plans
Yep.
again,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
that's what
And I think
humans
that's
do.
yeah, I think that's what like draws me to both of these series is like the human connection. I think like the relationships that they build. Like even in the Count, they talk multiple times about him being in the dirt, in the mud, like enacting his different forms of vengeance. And then he needs a little bit of reprieve and he goes and visits the Morels and like goes and sees Julie and Emmanuel. And he's like, I need something positive in my worldview right now. And he goes to like the good while he's like deep in the shit.
Yeah.
And it's like it speaks so much to the importance of like the human relationships. And I think that's what draws me to like both of these series. I shouldn't say series for Count of Monte Cristo, but like the relationships, the like conversations that they have, like the
Originally,
relationship
series.
building. Yeah, specifically in Red Rising. I love everybody's banter and like how funny everybody is and just like these relationships that they build. But yeah, just speaking to like how important human connection is,
Yeah.
especially when Dante's is in the Chateau d'If for 14 years. He's like ready to fully
Oh,
exit stage
he
left.
literally walks out
Yeah.
Yeah.
early on
Yeah.
before he
Uh-huh.
I'm
goes
gonna
to
just
bed.
starve myself. I'm gonna. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he hears that someone might be nearby and he's like, I already love this man because like human connection is just so important.
Yeah.
And I think that's also true for Darrow. Like, it's the people that he knows, and like, even now that everyone wrote, not that Roke is everyone's favorite, but like even that where he tries to spare Roke, like it's always the people around him that bring him back to this aspect of humanity, and just like human connection is ultimately the most important over vengeance and everything else that comes with that.
For sure.
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my TED Talk.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I have to say,
Yeah.
I looked up today because I had like a vague memory. We were during our intermission there, talking travel, and I had a vague memory of like, I think I've been to Marseille. I'm pretty sure I've been, and I have,
Really?
because I was like, okay, I went to perfumery somewhere, like it would have been a stop between
Oh my gosh.
Spain and Nice is where we were going. And then, so then I have all these pictures, but the year is 2012. So are any of
Sure.
the pictures good? No. But do any of the
That's like the
pictures
grainy.
have captions? No. Like you look at these Facebook memories and you're like, what was I doing here? But I found, we went to a perfumery in Marseille.
Amazing.
And then there was these really awkward pictures, like the most awkward, that have
That's what
though an
2012
island.
was.
Yeah. They have the island, and I was like, I bet you anything that is me trying to take pictures of Chateau d'If, because it's there, it's
Oh
a real
my God.
place, it's now like a historical
Oh, yeah.
site, which is what it is at the end of the book. He goes back
Yeah.
and visits, and but yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I have a vague memory of trying to be there, and I was looking through it. I was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
I have
yeah.
some real awkward pictures from like the French, like that part of the world that
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what I was trying to take a picture of. Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, like the read-along plan, the castle, quote unquote, at the bottom is a real picture of Chateau d'If that I just like cobbled together. And yeah, I would love to go visit. Even like, again, not circling back to the French show that's coming, but like the trailer for that was over the Chateau d'If. And like, I'm so excited. That's going to be my whole personality here shortly. But
Oh,
so
damn.
excited.
it's fine.
I'm just looking up the photo
Tell me more.
on the read-along plan.
Yeah.
Damn.
Isn't it
Time to
cool?
go to France.
Yep.
Exactly. I've never been. Time to go.
Either.
Yep. Yeah, I was a couple days in Nice and Monaco, which is not technically France at all. It's its own country, but we were hanging out in that area. But to get there,
Rich as hell.
we definitely stopped
Rich
in
as hell,
Marseille
though.
and stopped in Toulon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of my dream to go to Versailles.
Versailles is insane. I have my pictures of Versailles. You know it's Versailles. You can't look at those ones.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Wait, Versailles
Oh
you said
my
with
God.
a V, not right. Marseille.
Versailles. Yeah,
Okay.
Versailles.
I was like, hold on. There's Marseille is what we're talking about, but Versailles is
That's,
the like
that's
castle.
Marseille.
Marseille versus Marseille.
Yes.
Marseille
but
and
Versailles, like
Versailles.
the palace. I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to go.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I think I'm
Don't
gonna
go
go.
this summer.
No, me
Wait,
and
what? Say
Jabs
that
will
again.
be there at the end of August, and it's going to be a disaster because the Paris Olympics is
going to be
But in the
happening.
best way.
We are
Oh,
going to be
boy.
there 2 weeks after
No,
the
in the
Paris
worst way.
Olympics, and like
Maybe,
it's not
it will
gonna
be over then. All the protests.
we looked it up.
2 weeks
We
after, maybe.
Well, the French love a good protest.
They're the
They're
best at
probably
We know that.
they're the best in the world for
We know that.
protests. Even
They
the
know what
French
they're about.
Canadians love a good protest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's gonna be, but Versailles is crazy. That is one of the coolest things.
My dream.
Meringue, have you been to France?
I've
Fox,
been to
have you?
Spain and I've
I
been
just
to Germany, so I've like sandwiched
You've
it.
gone
But
all around, but never there. Fox, I assume
I
you've been
haven't
like
been
all
to
Europe.
Paris.
No, okay.
I've been to the
Colors
Savoie
meet up.
region and Lyon, but
Yeah.
not Paris.
It was really cool for me reading this after having been. That like Paris, it's like, oh yeah, like you kind of. Okay, first off, there's a really terrible song called the Champs-Élysées, or that talks about the Champs-Élysées, and every time in my head, I was like, the Champs-Élysées! And I was like,
No,
no.
I sing it too.
Okay, I'm
Absolutely, yeah.
so glad you know that
You're
reference.
not alone. You're not alone. Yeah.
I won't talk about what the rest of that song
100%.
is, that it's gotten me in trouble. But anyway, people can look it up and figure out what that
Uh-oh.
French translation is.
Yeah.
But that was really cool to read. But also Rome. I love the idea of going to Rome and they approach it
Yeah.
in the same way we currently approach Rome of oh, there's tourists and guides all over the Colosseum, and you're great of like
Yeah.
that reference of like, yep, that's exactly what it is in current day, and that's what it was in the 1800s, which is really cool. How humanity has not evolved to not be
Not changed at
obsessed over
all.
the Colosseum.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the Roman
everyone thinks
Empire
about the
is
Roman Empire.
Dantes' Roman
Yes.
Empire.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought I was the funniest person alive when I dressed as the Roman Empire for Halloween last year.
That's fucking hilarious.
I thought I was
That's so top
literally.
quality.
The way I could walk up to anyone and be like, think about me yet today was unparalleled. I really pulled that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Um, Anyways, yes, I've never been to Rome either. Like I've never been to Italy. Would love to go. My like dream vacation would be like the whole like all around the Mediterranean.
Mm.
Like haven't seen Italy, haven't seen Greece, even like on the African continent, like the southern side,
Yeah.
going to Egypt. I would love to see the pyramids, all of it.
Yeah.
Would just be ideal. Ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, all good
Yeah.
things.
All
Mhm.
good things. Yeah. Super
All
cool.
good things. Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any other questions. What else? Comments, thoughts, feelings? Is everyone
Yeah.
else?
Great question.
Now that you mentioned the Champs-Élysées, it's in English it's the Fields of Elysium. What was Elysium in the Rim
Oh.
in Red Rising?
Oh,
Something. What it was something.
it was something because
Something
like
of
This is a
wasn't
Crescent question.
yeah, because didn't what's Diomedes' dad's name that only exists in Iron Gold before he goes?
Romulus.
Romulus,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, which is a
Romulus
reference to Rome.
goes, you
To,
know,
to
he
something
goes
in
out.
Elysium. That's how my brain works. It just
Yeah.
it's translating all the time
Yeah.
between everything.
I mean, that is a skill set. I can only do English, Spanish,
Mm.
and that's it.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
English at this point, very little French. Used to be
It still
way
counts.
better.
You read most of this
Yeah.
in French, which I could never.
I couldn't either.
So Elysium, it's mentioned a few times in Dark Age. It's definitely in the Rim.
Is it when Romulus
It all goes
walks?
through the options on the paint stamp. Calendora spent every summer with Alexander in Elysium. So it was probably on Europa.
Okay.
Always begging grandfather to train her. What's the next one?
It says it's a paradise in Greek mythology, is what I've done a quick Google search.
Yeah, so the
I've
the
never
Knights of
actually tried
Elysium.
It's the afterlife
So
where
it's
you go.
Yeah.
Arcos.
If you've ever played Hades, there's like
Yeah.
hell, and then there's. Have you played it?
Yep.
Oh, loved it.
Hades 2
Elysium.
is out in early access.
Oh, see, I don't have that, but I am
And
excited.
apparently it's very, very good and almost a fully complete game already.
I'm beside myself. Elysium was kind of annoying to get through, I will say. Like them with all their fucking shields. Nightmare.
Yep.
Anyway.
Wait, so Elysium's like Valhalla? Is that kind of the idea? It's the afterlife? It's the
Yeah.
ish?
It's
I know
adjacent. It's
Valhalla
very
is just for
Yeah.
warriors, but
yeah. Have you ever played? Did you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
yes. Yeah.
Also, okay. Yes, I think there's an Elysium, and that's where you have to like teleport up
Oh,
But
okay.
it's like all the floral, like it's
Yeah.
nice version of the afterworld.
Yeah.
If that's the word.
Also
Yeah, it's
Like,
the
there's like the
opposite of 80s.
underworld.
in
Yeah.
the movie Gladiator,
Yep.
he keeps
Mhm.
saying that he'll meet his wife and his children in Elysium, if you remember.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's how it ends. He's walking through the fields, touching
Yes,
the
of
wheat or whatever.
Elysium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm sorry, I
exactly that.
mentioned. Yeah.
No, that's great because I've never
No,
wanted to translate
please.
it. I've just gone like it's the probably I would say the most famous
A
street
good
in
place?
Paris in current culture because it's where all the rich people shop. So that's interesting that
Yeah.
that's the Greek
It's
mythology. Is
it's
what if
still,
we
Yeah.
put
still
Louis
Elysium.
Vuitton? What if we put a
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton
Yeah.
there?
It's literally heaven if you can go and shop there.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
are rich enough to go on the Champs
If you
Because
Elysees.
capitalism is
Count
heaven,
of
as
Monte.
everybody knows.
No
If
one
you got
forced
Count of
to
Monte
go
Cristo
to.
money, you're
Yeah,
good.
you're hanging out on the
Yeah.
Champs Elysees.
Count
Yep.
of Monte
Mhm.
Cristo.
Yeah.
Count of
Count of
Monte
Monte Cristo. Exactly that. AKA Quicksilver, who just fucks
Yeah.
off Tabula Rasa. Whatever.
That's a good connection. Is at the very end the fucking off,
Yeah.
taking Haiti,
Mhm.
like you're okay. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Gotta
That's
go.
a good connection
I'm
there.
just gonna like take all my wealth and just like I don't know,
I
Leave
something
with
made
that
my
a
sustains
beautiful
me.
partner.
Yep.
I made a
Yes,
mess
who
of
is
everything.
yes,
Sorry,
I made a mess of
I'm
everything.
going now.
But you know what? I saved Valentine and Maximilian, which like I'm ultimately glad the Morels had like a good thing going
They
for them
get a
at the
good
end because
yeah.
First, he put her in
ultimately,
danger by giving Madame Villefort the idea of poison, and then he saved.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, initially he could not have cared less who died
No.
in the Villefort household. Oh my gosh. But as soon as Max cared about her, he was like, I have
Yeah.
to save a life today.
Yeah. I was
I don't
just gonna
know.
pick
Can
up
you?
on what you said, Crescent, of
Yeah.
Quicksilver and his beautiful partner. And I think that's an interesting one of Haiti at the beginning. I would definitely call it pink. She's like a weird. He
Oh
kept calling
yeah.
her slave. Like
Yep.
has brought her up.
Mhm.
I have purchased you, and like that to Quicksilver. And oh my god, my brain is frozen. Mateo, thank you.
Mateo. Mhm.
Um, like
Yes,
that
absolutely.
little link, and I mean she is a princess, so there's a little bit of a difference there, but like that weird mentality that like at the beginning of Quick and Mateo's situation could not have been an easy like I have fallen for a pink. He at the end has fallen for who he refers to as a slave like half the book. That little weird
I
pat.
think
Yep.
that Haide is closer to Lyria in everything.
Mm,
She's a red who was
yep,
treated as a slave, lost all her family,
yep,
and now revenged herself on
yeah,
whoever was responsible.
Oh yeah.
And
yep,
good for
Maybe
her.
that's how it ends
yeah.
in Red God.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Um,
Darrow and Lyria get together.
No, Volga and
hey,
Lyria.
Volga and Lyria.
Oh.
they
Volga.
go and fuck them up.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, here
Fox,
for
I
it.
think you called this out. Like even Lyria and Volga communicating when they're
In
both
the
imprisoned
prison.
was very
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
Edmund
Yep.
and
Edmund and Faria,
Faria coded.
this is
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Lyria even sounds like very
Whoa.
holy shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It all comes together. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I hope for the best. Um,
There aren't many
I'm very excited for Red God.
women
Yep.
characters in the Count of Monte Cristo that are like queens, like Victra or someone. I
No.
can't compare.
Yeah,
No, they're all kind of
I think.
very of their time, I would say.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
Lishani is
yeah,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I like
she's
her.
pretty badass at the end there
she's
of
like,
like
alright,
Pretty
I'm
pretty
on my
the
sweet.
own.
fuck out of
Bye.
here.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
taking
Yeah.
I'm
Ren.
deserve to not be an
Bye.
Unlar anymore.
And she's smart. She knows how
Yeah.
to play the game. She's like,
Yep.
listen, Dad, I know
Mhm.
Fuck.
what the plan is. I'm gonna do my
Yep.
thing. You do your thing.
Yep.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And I feel like he really glosses over like how
Yeah.
HBIC Mercedes becomes. Like she married Fernand, but also because that like put her in a place of wealth to be able to like highly educate herself, like become the master of all. Like everyone was kind of like in awe of Mercedes by the time that she was married to Fernand. Not that like she was necessarily in love with him, but like she kind of used him in her own way. And God, one of my favorite things is that she had someone paint her longing for Dante
Yeah.
and then put it in his house.
Yep.
What a bitch move. I love her so much to be like, I'm only with you because
Because he's
Fernand is
gone.
not here. Or not Fernand,
Dante's is
because
not here.
Edmund's
Yeah.
not here. Yeah.
I hate this term, but like Fernand, big cuck energy.
Spot on, though. Spot on. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I just love her to death. I think she's the best.
Yep.
She's so
Yeah.
good. Mhm.
It's great.
I also love that she's like, yeah, I clocked you immediately.
Yeah, your voice.
Like,
Yes.
what?
It's your
I don't know
voice.
how
Like,
nobody else has, but like,
Yeah.
I would know you
Exactly.
anywhere.
but that's true
Exactly. And like
love. The
everyone
rest
else.
weren't. The rest weren't in true love
Yeah.
with him.
True.
But you would hope that like if you have the level of hatred that you do to put Edmund through what they put him through, that you would like recognize him. But like they are so consumed with their own narrative
Yeah.
that nothing is coming through to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mercedes knows immediately, and I love
Yeah.
her for that. She's a
Yeah, but
hero.
that's what love does.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
she even though she knows in quotes
Hmm.
that Edward is dead, she still hopes because love makes you
Yeah.
hope even if it's
Yep.
Yep.
irrational. So
Hmm.
she always has that in the background that maybe she will see him again,
Yeah.
and maybe she's looking for him in everyone, and it was easy
Yes.
for her to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bill
Oh,
Four, he saw
absolutely.
him twice, maybe. No, he
Yeah.
saw them. He saw him the one time.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
wasn't going to recognize him,
Yeah.
but the others,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Cataroost like
Hmm.
should have known far
Exactly.
before.
You
Because
would
Caterina
think,
like
like,
from a
Him and
is
19
Gonzalo.
year
flaky.
old to what, like 30-year old, let's say, like, yeah, you do
yeah,
change a
Yeah,
lot.
40-year
But
old
at the
basically.
same
Yeah.
time, I look back at 19-year-old me and I'm like, no, people would recognize me after.
Yeah.
Like,
you would think. And also, he was there, he was quote unquote, I won't say like responsible for his father, but he was a neighbor
yeah.
to Dante's father. And like Dante's had to lose quote unquote father figures back to back, like with
Hmm.
both his actual father, like learning that he perished from starvation, which is
Yeah. That's
Starvation.
fucking brutal.
Yeah.
yeah, especially when like Candaruce was his next door neighbor and
Yeah.
could have taken care of him. Mercedes was there, not to
Yeah.
ever speak ill of
That's
Mercedes,
why.
but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why he
And
says he forgives her, but he can't
hmm,
forget that she let him starve.
But
She
he
let
throws
yeah,
it in her face of
Yeah.
like,
He throws it
a
in her
little bit,
face. You
yeah.
let my father starve to death,
Hmm.
and she was in a position to take care of him, but she
Yeah.
didn't.
Especially marrying Fernand. Like
yeah.
again, you can forgive her for that transgression feels like a strong word, but like what else was she
Just you should,
supposed to
Yeah.
do? Like
yeah.
in the 1800s, like women only had so many rights, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
needed a husband to really like get
Do
anywhere,
anything.
almost
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, do anything. And so like he forgave her, but like and also I think his father like ended up locking the door against it because he was so consumed with his own grief, which
Yeah.
God, I can only imagine. But yeah, all of the above. I just like cannot believe that in that day and age, his dad died of starvation, and that's why, you know, Edmund took that route with Danglars and like
Yep.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make him starve in the cell, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately because he was like allowed to live, and everybody in Vampa's care ended up just going a little bit cuckoo bananas. Turns
Crazy town
out.
banana pants.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the other things that I like about both of these series is like they are kind of very subtly funny, if not like overtly funny, where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, situationally, but also like
Mhm.
some of the things that they say, I'm just like, this is hilarious, but oftentimes in a very dark way.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, you guys continue. I will listen. I'll return momentarily.
Okay,
Using him again. Yeah.
no worries. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know. There's
funny.
just like
More
the
funny.
banter of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the banter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the way, I mean, the way they spoke back then, like
Mm-hmm.
the insults they threw at each other and the shade they gave
Oh,
specifically to Italian food and stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
right?
amazing. Yeah,
It is so good.
it's
Yeah.
like
So
when Martians, no, who talks about the Venusians like that? No, no, no. In Red
Oh.
Rising, like I compared the way they talked about the Italians as the way they talked about
Yeah.
Venusians.
Yeah.
It's like that lower, you're over
Yeah, I was
there.
like, oh, they're
Yeah, those
Venusians. They're
guys.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Uh-huh.
like,
Just a
you
little
like
bit of
Venusian food? Ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
they love
So
the
funny.
tea, they love the shade, they
Yeah.
love it all. Like, not Franz. Who is Madame Danglars having an affair with?
Oh, Lucian?
Lucien Debray, yes. He is subtly one of the funniest people, I would say. He is always throwing shade. He is always
Mhm.
talking shit. And I love it. And he's the most like unbothered person alive. Like as soon as she kind of disappears after Danglars goes bankrupt and like also disappears on his own. And for her to like come back to the trial, she loves the tea. She has to be there for that. Fully support. I would
Yeah.
do the exact same thing. I need the details. Yep. But yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, and they
Hmm.
know how to play the society. Like I like when
Oh
Albert
yeah.
approaches Monte Cristo at the opera. And
Hmm.
Monte Cristo's like,
Yeah.
great, I'm going to use your name right now because everybody's been gossiping about you. I'm going to call
Hmm.
you out on so many levels and basically embarrass you, but also accept your duel. Like, is so
Yes.
the levels of like, this is how the society works and this is how.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, though, it made me laugh if I was like reading through and I was like, I'm sorry, is there only 20 people in this society? Like they all just have the circles, and I know it's that like none of them
Yep.
are old money. They're not the true
Hmm.
like
They're the
barons or
bourgeoisie.
whatever. Yeah, they are that
Yeah.
secondary class of made money. But they and obviously they
Yep.
all know each other from the past, but it's like is it Madame Villefort is sleeping with like
Mm.
they're all of the mixes, and
Who's
I'm like,
where?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do you guys not branch out? Which though, looking to connect
Yeah.
it to Red Rising, like you look at
Hmm.
like the golds, it's like, okay, there has to be more of you. And the only ones we
Yeah.
know all know
Yeah.
each other intimately. Do we ever see June the cook's parents? No. Like they're
No.
all in their
Yeah.
little like yeah, they've
Yeah.
all intermarried and screeched. Like it's just really
Yeah.
funny to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, sorry, is there only
Uh-huh.
20 people in all of France and you all end up in Rome at the same time? You all end up like here at the same time? Like what's happening here?
Yes. And we will revisit.
Yeah.
Exact like Jacobo. He disappears, he comes back. Vampa, he
Yeah.
exists and then he comes
He
back
goes back.
at the very end. Like it's a huge web, but the web always comes back together.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that.
The web weaves as the web wills.
Yeah.
Weaves as the web wills. That's good.
But I would have loved to
Exactly that.
have like that lost 10 years of
Yes.
Edmund of like
Yeah.
how did you find these things before? Like,
What were you up to?
what have you been doing that you can pull whose children are like mysteriously whose, and like what? How did you do this? Like, it's just so funny. Of like every single person
Yeah.
has like a third and fourth connection to somebody else because you found them
Yeah.
on a far corner of the world. Like, what?
Right. In what world did you discover Bertuccio, who
Yeah.
his
Exactly.
sister and him raised Benedetto, who's also Villefort and Madame Danglars' offspring,
Illegitimate
who
son, yeah.
Villefort tried to bury alive this infant, and he witnessed it, and he rescued the bébé, and it just all of it, like it's such an intense web
And
that ultimately
witnesses the
comes back.
murder of Caderous's wife.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
How? How
How?
does he get?
Yeah, the
How does he get all this
self-defense killing
information?
of
The whole,
Caderous's wife.
Yeah.
yes, but no.
But you just like employed him for who knows what? How did you find
Yeah,
him?
Yeah.
What were those years
unbelievable.
doing?
Yeah.
Oh, all of it's unbelievable. Yeah. But it all just weaves together so
So
well.
perfectly.
It's compelling. Nobody knows what it
Yes.
Yeah.
means, but it's provocative.
But it's provocative. Thank you. Is that Blades of Glory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, someone's just marionetting behind the scenes, and we believe it's Edmund / the
Yeah.
Count. But again, it's just like all of these personas, the amount of, again, like you said, like the masks that he wears. He is Lord Wilmore. He is Abbe Busoni. He is the Count of Monte Cristo. He is Edmond Dantes. He is such a control freak that he has to control every corner of the narrative. No matter
Yeah.
what mask he puts on, he can say XYZ about them.
Yeah. Well, and to such a
Mm-hmm.
degree of being able, it's not just that he speaks the language, he can embody. Like, there's a line of something about, like, I think it's that the English, like, laugh behind their teeth or something. And I was sitting
Yeah.
there being like,
Yeah.
what, to what level do you have to, like, be able to integrate yourself into these societies that you know, like, walks like like an Italian versus a French versus an English, for like crazy
Mm-hmm.
the level there of,
Yes.
yeah,
Study like not only the language but the culture and
the
like
culture, the like
yeah.
everything, the backstory,
Mm-hmm.
who he's paid off the Pope, he's paid off, like, how did you get
Real.
connection
Yeah.
to the Pope? Like,
Yeah. Again, just this like above humanity like level of, I don't want to say genius, but a little bit. Like just like you've
yeah,
escalated beyond the level of society. Like the Reaper, if we go back to Red Rising, like same kind of thing. You've just like surpassed even like
yeah,
you're in a mythological level of persona
yeah,
at this point. Like there's Darrow, there's the Reaper, there's the Sovereign, there's Mustang. Like you've surpassed
Yeah.
a standard level of humanity and you're now this
yeah,
entity.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much
Yeah,
Yeah.
both
this has
for
been
this
great.
It was
conversation.
really fun.
I've had the time of my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this
Me
has
too.
been. Thanks for
So
hosting it in
fun.
the den, and Fox,
Oh my
all of
God.
your
Yeah.
It's
Thanks,
contribution
Meringue.
of
It was
been an
so
keeping it
good.
honor.
I'm
going.
going to miss. I'm going to miss talking about this in the den,
Uh,
and I can't
Me
wait for a
too.
new
We'll find
redraw.
ways to bring it up.
It's
It'll
it's
be
time it's time to do your guys' other favorite thing, the blade itself.
yeah.
Mm,
Honestly, I will.
I
Literally,
could.
I need the
I'm
tiniest
partway through the
suggestion and
first
I'm in.
book, so
Are you really? How are you feeling? Tell me everything.
Are
Who's
you
your favorite?
reading or
it's been
listening?
a very long, like I've been reading it for
I
like
was
a
gonna say
year,
no
just like
spoilers
pick.
here.
That's okay.
You
Yeah.
have to listen to it because that's an experience in itself. Because the best
Yeah.
narrator on the planet at the moment is
Yeah.
reading those books.
TGR reads them.
Airs.
Uh,
No. Um,
I always say
Stephen
this: we
Pacey
love
does.
TGR, but Stephen Pacey is even better.
Hmm.
I'm
He's like
sorry.
he his career started as an actor. So for him, moving into voice acting is phenomenal. And I'm sure you've like gotten to at least some point of like the internal monologue of like Glokta, who is one of the greatest fictional characters ever to
Love
exist.
it.
He
My
does
favorite.
same. He does such a phenomenal job with it. It is so good. Like even if you just read them, I cannot recommend enough listening to Stephen Pacing doing it. And I know Fox is on the exact same page because both of us like
So
we
the
cannot stop
interesting thing is
harping.
I was
Yeah.
informed from that other
Yeah.
podcast that is currently reading through Words and
Mhm.
Whiskey. I was told, because I was
Yep.
talking across about
Mhm.
Count of Monte Cristo, and he has sold me on Best Served Cold is a Count of Monte Cristo
Hell
It is so good.
retelling.
It is
So
the best book
yeah.
in the
When they
series.
were
that's
here
I
for
I
a
might jump
Minerva
in
meeting.
straight into Best Served Cold, which apparently I can do. It's not the best thing to do, but
Yeah, you can, but
I
It's a
am very
standalone.
specific. Yeah, I'm very specific on how books get recommended to me. Like, apologies to everyone who tries
Yeah.
to make me read things. It's going to take you
Yeah.
years before, unless you can hook me in a very specific
Mhm.
way. And Best Served Cold has hooked me rather than the other ones. So that's where I'm probably jumping into. So, Meringue, you were saying
That's
when you
totally
were
fine.
interacting with
That's the
Cross
one
and
that's
PJ.
getting a movie
Yeah.
initially because like I think it's a good introduction if you don't want to go with the blade itself, which I have to say that is a
Yeah.
phenomenal title, first of all. Like that alone got me hooked. But that's one that's getting a movie. It's like the first, so there's a trilogy and then there's a few like quote unquote standalones that exist in the same
standalone.
world. And then there's another trilogy. And Best Served Cold is like the first of
And
the
they are
standalones in the
all
world.
amazing.
Oh.
Yes, they are so funny.
All of
They're
them.
like dark funny. They are fucking phenomenal. If I just have to summarize it in one statement. But yeah, when Words and Whiskey was here for like a Minerva meetup at one point, I was like, I need you guys to read Joe Abercrombie. Like it's one of my favorites because nope, never mind. Another Minervan and I have The Lies of Locke Lamora is our also other favorite,
Scott
which
Lynch, right?
thank you. Thank you. He's
Hell
a
yeah,
St.
dude.
Paul author, so he's like a Minnesotan and like to his core. So whenever we get number 4, I will be all over that. But that's another one of my all-time favorites. So Lies of Locke Lamora
I need to read
and
that now.
oh, you do.
Yes,
Okay, so there's
you
3
do.
books so far. Yes.
Okay.
It is
We love a
okay.
heist book.
So yes, we love a heist book. We love a mastermind. We love just like a morally gray,
Mm.
all of it, and just like some of the best banter within the crew
Oh,
that I
it's so
have.
good.
It's so good. It is
I
not to circle back,
definitely
but just
will
like
then.
I love the human like connections, communications that go on, all of it. Liza Locke-Lamora, please and thank you, Scott Lynch, Minnesotan boy. The
There you
end.
go. Well, to try and wrap
Wow.
all of this up.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. That's a lot of threads to bring together.
Yeah, a lot of threads. I will
Sorry,
say
a lot of
we
feelings.
will not be covering Joy Abercrombie just because Words and Whiskey has, so everyone
Yes.
jump over to them.
Lies of Locke Lamora.
We'll
do that
see.
one.
No, because
Listen.
again, I don't read unless you've sold me on a very specific way. So I'm just gonna shut this down before we get too many. Thank you very
I will
much for
write
being here.
whatever I need to
Yeah,
write.
thank you guys
No.
for coming on.
Thank you very much
Thanks
for
for
being
inviting
here.
us.
This has been fantastic. You guys are both welcome back at any time. You know that.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank you for leading us through this. And I'm sure more Count of Monte Cristo will show up in Red God or wherever else and we can revisit. That would be great.
Absolutely.
We'll find a way. We'll find a
We
way
can
to
talk
connect
about it
it.
again then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you both so much. This has
Thank you
truly,
so much.
truly been a delight. I am so jazzed to talk about this and like everything else. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
This has
Thank
been
Meringue,
you.
so
for
fun.
putting it all together. It was such a fun couple of months reading it with
Yes,
y'all.
thank you for also being co-captain.
Oh. Meringue seems to have frozen, so I'm going to take that as a
Yeah, that's
thank you, listeners.
Thank you guys for listening.